Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the 504 Core Podcast. Sad boy hours, really, truly, because it is truly summertime and Cancun season for Louisiana sports. As the LSU Tigers, who had a good run, man. There was like 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago that LSU wasn't even thought of making the NCAA tournament. They make a run, and then they get second place in the SEC tournament, and then they're right there of hosting another super regional, but just falling short. Mike, my thoughts just on that game. One, I mean, Helmer's hell of a game by the Jesuit kid. He pitched his ass off. But I'm gonna say he pitched his ass off. I would have kept Ack in that ninth inning. Ack has some juice. Ack is more of a closer to me. I would have trust him, Ackenhausen in the ninth inning. That's just my thoughts on the game. I know you got some questions about the lineup changes and pinch hitting, but just my thoughts. I felt like Ack had some juice out of the eighth inning, and like the whole time, I was like, man, keep him in there, let him just keep bringing the heat. Um, that was my only question mark. Obviously, missing the fly out really like ends this whole conversation right now. But still,
Yeah, I mean, LSU started off the year in SEC play, I think 3-12 or something really, really poor. Poor. So it was
uh-huh.
they kind of caught fire. They caught fire at the right time the past couple months. It was kind of really impressive to see how the turnaround they had. It's kind of rare to see that by a team, really. But they were showing up when it needed, and then the going into the SEC tournament, they were kind of a bubble team to make even the regionals, and then they make it all
Yeah,
the way to the championship and
get a two
fall
seed.
short, fall short. But they did what they needed to do. So, they rolled into the regionals with some momentum, played well. Just the bats. One thing I noticed with LSU baseball, kind of towards the end, they hit all these home runs, but always be one or two shot home runs. Like they never get anytime they're up.
Consistency. Yeah,
Yeah, there's no consistency. The pitching stepped up when it had to. Thatcher Hurd sucked. He was supposed to be your ace all year. He sucked all year until when you absolutely needed it, and he showed up the other day. Starting Dutton yesterday was questionable. I would have. I don't really know. I think maybe Coleman, but I mean Coleman didn't light it up either. Ackenhausen was kind of on a little bit of pitch count. You were just kind of running on fumes, so it was just disappointing. Jake Brown dropped the ball, but I said at the time, I even tweeted on our page, I was just like, they pinched hit Fry for Larson, and I don't understand that at all. I mean, I
yeah.
know Larson's hitting a lot. His averages are hitting worse on right-handed or it's either right-handed or left-handed pitchers. I guess that has something to do with it, but I mean, he's still 70. He's hitting
Especially
70
since SEC
points
play.
higher. Yeah, he's hitting 70 points higher. He's a freshman. Like, so be it. But Fry really hasn't done anything to trigger that, in my opinion, to get that nod over Larson. You know, that started everything. I mean, let me see my notes here. So that they put in Fry over Larson. That must have been like the sixth or seventh inning. So I'll read you all what it. So they took Larson out. Fry goes in. He goes out on three pitches. So like nothing at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So that pushes Jake Brown from center field to right field, a position he hasn't really played. Like, yeah, it's not that for him, but it's still out of his depth. So that pushes him to right field. That forces Kling to go center field. Kling, Kling cannot. He hasn't. I'm pretty sure he's been hit by more pitches than he has hits on the season. Like,
Yeah, he's been a disappointment because he was one of the best high school prospects in the country coming out.
yeah. So like defensively he's good and all that, and he's fast, but he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So
Yeah,
as good old Patrick O'Houlihan would say. So I mean, the dude hasn't hit a ball in months. Jay Johnson wrote him out for months, and then he finally subbed him out. So that forced Kling to center field, fine. But you move Jake Field to right. Kling goes up the bat. He strikes out on three pitches. Ball hit. Of course, the ball gets hit to Brown late in the game. Drops the ball. I mean, it's not an easy play. It's not some routine fly ball, but it
It's
still should have
catching.
been caught. Yeah, it should have been caught. He's a freshman. He had his freshman moment at the worst possible time of the season. So be it. So, but obviously the inning goes on, they score, and then the game just goes away.
Yeah. You
It's just,
also had the top of the lineup to kind of bounce back out of that. And I mean, it's
yeah,
just,
it was just, it ruined a story. Like out of all the storylines I've seen, Louisiana fans are nuts, and they're like, "Oh, giving Jake Brown shit," which is incredible considering he hit a home run early in the game, and he was pretty
yeah,
clutch. And towards the end of the season, considering he didn't play, he played beginning of the year, and the middle of the year didn't really play much, and then all of a sudden he's playing. He's pretty clutch towards the end, so it's just unfortunate to see.
100%.
Tommy
He's
Tommy
also,
White Tommy White didn't hit any home runs. He was just going home running, hit hunting, and then he a strikeout or hit a single. So guys just didn't really step up. It was just kind of weird. The guys you think wouldn't step up stepped up, and the guys you would think would step up didn't. So it was
yeah,
just
credit to Will Helmers, man. You talking about
yeah.
story. He was the biggest story I felt like on
And then it gets
Monday.
overshadowed by all this
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. I mean, he pitched 70 pitches. I mean, I don't know if he threw 70 pitches all year. And then he was like shutout. But I mean, Will Helmer's, SEC tournament stepped up. He stepped up now. So, the guys stepped up when they did. And then alluding to going back to Gabe's jump, Gabe's jump, LSU's ace, but he kind of takes a little bit to get going. Same with Herring. Like Herring and Jump, those guys get better as they go along. So, I get the thought process. I'm not going to be mad at Jay Johnson for that, but I said it. I said it then, and I'm gonna say it now. Fry led the chain of negative plays for LSU. So it's just really unfortunate how it ended, but is what it is. I think they're going to be loaded
Yeah.
again next year. I'm curious to see what guys are going to go into the draft, but
I think White and Jared Jones are gone.
you think Jared Jones is a given?
Yeah, I like what I've seen is at least third round, top 3 round guy.
Yeah, I guess teams will bank on his power.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really got to hope. I mean, someone was saying Chase Shores. I mean, Chase Shores, that's like your number one pitcher next year. Like he's gonna be a stud.
Yeah, he hasn't pitched in 2 years, so
Yeah, I mean he can work his way up to a top 5 draft pick.
yeah.
So someone said he could go. Yeah, hopefully he comes back. There was even rumors. I think WBRZ actually he reported it that if LSU made it to Omaha that he might be ready to come back. Then I don't know how true that is, but he could be blowing smoke up our ass. But yeah, Chase Shore is going to be a top 5 pick if he comes back, and hopefully we get Herring back. And then I'm sure Jay Johnson will be able to go on the transfer portal and recruit. I know last year they were like, "Oh, this is the first year or whatever year." They were like, "Oh, this year that Jay Johnson's going to have a chance to go into the transfer portal because last year was in Omaha." So, I guess that's one positive take from it that Jay Johnson's going to have extra time to go in. But I saw Louisville's got a shortstop that entered the portal, and he said, pretty well. And I think Moscona said they might be in the mix for that. So I'm sure. I'm sure LSU will have a good offseason. I don't have any doubt about it.
Yeah, speaking of off seasons, Mike, the OTAs, organized team activities in the NFL, is in week 3. I was at Broncos OTAs this morning, but been keeping up with the Saints. Couple things interesting to see Taysom Hill kind of getting that Kyle Juszczyk role, kind of playing a lot of fullback. All right, but more I'm at Broncos OTAs, the more I speak to people who have seen Clint Kubiak in action, and the more skeptical I become that he's qualified to be an offensive coordinator. This is a guy who has never called plays before.
You're
Never.
saying you're saying what? That
Not
he is
qualified to be an offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
Because
I mean everyone needs their first shot though,
yeah,
right? But yeah,
I agree, but I mean, like people are acting like the offense can be fixed with a guy who there's a lot of unknown, and
yeah.
he was terrible in Denver in 2022.
What was he in 2022?
He was the passing game coordinator, and the
Okay.
Broncos had the worst passing offense in the NFL, arguably.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean everyone needs their shot, right? So the NFL is so competitive. I don't think the Saints. So one point someone made a while back, it's like if you're a really good offensive coordinator, if you're
Yeah,
a really good sought after
you're going
coach,
good because Dennis Allen might be fired by week 5.
yeah, exactly. So the leash isn't very long. So like your job security, is unless you just knock it out the park, with an aging roster, then you know I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't mind giving Kubiak the nod. That everyone talks. He's not an older guy. What is he, like, in his 40s?
No, he's kind of younger for NFL head coach.
Everyone
But
reverts back to the 49ers too, right?
yeah, I mean that's where it was last year. But my point is, just being with the 49ers 1 year doesn't make you an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
His previous stops, he was terrible in Denver the year before that. And then he was in as a quarterbacks coach in Minnesota, which he was solid in. But he was just like, but what makes this guy an offensive coordinator? He hasn't been an offensive coordinator before.
Well, you
He
got to
hasn't
ask the
called play.
question: is he going to be better than Pete Carmichael?
But
So
that's what I'm saying. We don't know. Like,
he's got to be.
well, if you say he's got to be, Pete actually called one season of plays before. We kind of knew what Pete was, but we don't know what this guy is.
Yeah, but he also
If
had
that
Drew Brees. It goes by talent. It goes by injuries. It goes by.
exactly, but you still got Derek Carr. You still got the same. Like this team did not improve except maybe with a right tackle. Has this team improved, Mike?
I think Shaheed will get better. I think Olave. It's going to be like internal growth more than like adding outside talent.
Yeah, but like the rest of the league every year grows.
Offensive line, is the offensive line gotten better or worse? I would assume worse, or is it
Um,
kind of sideways?
Pete is gone now. I just like offensive line's got so many
But
holes.
if you can get Penning's production the same as the way Pete played last year, I would put that as a big win because Pete was
Yeah,
good. Pete was good at tackle. I mean, that's what he was
yeah,
in college. He came in the NFL. They moved him to fucking guard, or he's kind of a hybrid. But the Saints do this shit all the time. They took Ruiz, who was a center, made him a guard. Took
yeah,
Pete as a tackle, made him a guard. Like
yeah.
they're constantly rewiring these guys. Taking Fuago, who's a right tackle, put him on the left side. Or Saints constantly do this. I guess they have visions for their player. That's what they always said, at least when Peyton was around. But we'll see. You got to hope. Honestly, like Saints' key to success this year. It's obvious, but like Penning has to take that next step. If Penning doesn't take that next step, they're in serious trouble unless they like go and trade for some kind of viable left tackle, which is.
But Mike, you also have an aging defense. Aging defenses don't do well in the NFL. The Legion of Boom. There's a reason why good defenses last 5 years. That's about it. The last time a defense has been good for 10, 15 years is the Baltimore Ravens with Ray Lewis. They're like Legion of Boom, about 5 years. And with this defense, they've been good for about 5, 6 years now. And now you got Cam Jordan at 35, 36 years old. Mario Davis in his 30s. Tyrann Matthews in his 30s. Um, Marshawn Lattimore is getting up in age. He's getting injured, right? This is an old defensive roster, and it concerns me because the older you get, the more injuries you're going to get.
No, I agree. That's why I'm pro. Like, I believe me. I remember the days of Brandon Browner and Jason David and all these corners that just never amounted to what they were supposed to be. I know the days of having bad corners, but Saints need to face the reality of this isn't the same window. And I think they have. I think this offseason, Saints fans are kind of complaining about it. The Saints fans want it both ways, right? They want to add these Super Bowl caliber players on cheap or just kind of come out the woodwork. Doesn't
They're
happen.
not realistic. I think that's any.
Yeah, they want to be under the cap, have cap space, add these guys on cheap, and then retool the roster. And that Mickey Loomis hasn't done this year. And you know what? I got to commend him on that because this is the offseason where everyone was like, face reality. This isn't the team that everyone thought it was. And, they've acted like that. I think they've had, I wouldn't say a great offseason, but I would say they've spent within their means. So they're trying to kind of slowly get themselves out of the hole. So they have what, 4 really good corners right now. They got Kool-Aid, Adebo, Taylor, and Lattimore. I don't see all 4.
Been my favorite draft the Saints have had. Apparently Taylor's in trouble for not listening to play calls at the end of last year.
No, was anyone listening to play calls? You got Jameis running his own plays.
Yeah.
And,
well, I think that says more about the head coach, but
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I'm agreeing with you on that.
How could you not, as a DB, how could you not listen to play calls? That's insane.
I don't know, Mike. I'm very confused about that.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I'm sure they have a plan. We'll see. I mean,
I'm sick of seeing Dennis Allen too. Like when I was watching, I love to watching Drew Brees go into Saints Hall of Fame. He can do the Ring of Honor right now as well, and also just get him a statue and retire his jersey all at once. I guarantee you, the game he goes into Saints Hall of Fame is going to be against the Broncos. Well, I hope so.
Why? Just because Peyton will be there?
Yeah, and I'll be there.
Oh yeah, they're doing it for you.
Yeah, no, but Peyton will be there. It makes more sense. I mean, it's Peyton Breeze era. You gotta come on.
Yeah, we'll see. Do you
but
think?
Just seeing anytime I see Dennis Allen now, it's just kind of.
I think Saints fans kind of. I mean, they should know by now what this team is right now. I said it in our group text the other night. Do I care about the Saints? Yeah, but am I going to be all upset if they, start dropping game after game? It's no. I mean, I literally don't. I don't think we're a contender. I think we're kind of in the middle of the road, maybe the back end of the road. So
I want people to realize this: the worst thing to be in the NFL is mediocre.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no way to get better, and there's no way to get worse. You're just stuck there. The Saints have been stuck there since Drew Brees has retired, and they're going to be stuck there this year. It's just eventually going to have to blow it up. The Broncos realized that, and Peyton realized that before he retired. He told Mickey, and Mickey didn't want to do that. So,
yeah, I mean, if you don't have, you got to have that quarterback. Winston wasn't the guy. Yeah, it's just we're going to be in dark days. Everyone's counting on Spencer Rattler, 5th-round pick, to come in.
I'm going to be honest. We need to calm down with Rattler a little bit too. I've watched a lot of Spencer Rattler. He's not your savior. Okay. A guy who's thrown 18 touchdowns and 9 interceptions and 3,000 yards his senior season at South Carolina and didn't make a bowl game is not your savior.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Is there potential for him to be a savior? Absolutely. But having expectations of that, you can't do that. I mean, you're gonna be severely disappointed.
Yeah.
At least I think, unless he comes in there and just somehow lights it up. But
who knows?
Very, very rarely. Yeah, you're right. Who knows? Just like anything else, what do you put around him? What's the situation? You're talking about Kubiak. Is he even a competent coach? So, lot to unpack with the Saints. We're past June 1st, so I know everyone was talking about if Lattimore were to be traded, it would be June 1st or later. So we're after the draft. They added our corner. Do you think they're going to draft Lattimore, or what's your predictions there?
I think he's on the run. I think he would have been traded yesterday.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't. If they do trade him, I hope
it's a deadline deal.
Yeah, I hope Saints fans are. Hope Saints fans know that whenever if you ever do see a Lattimore trade, it's not going to be for anything significant. Maybe even less than what not CD Lamb.
The Chiefs.
Chauncey got. So it might be in that ballpark. Might be even later than that. Might be for a 5th-round pick and a future other pick. But I would not expect much considering his contract and injuries and his age and everything else. So it's going to be a team that's fringe Super Bowl contender or a contender that's just trying to have some kind of immediate upgrade. So, yeah, I could see it. But you never know. I don't care either way if he gets traded or not. So I guess just cash in while you can. I guess that'd be the only thing
100%.
I'd say. So
Speaking of June, it's officially NBA Finals NHL season. Not going to bring up NHL. I know your heart's still broken.
Hey man, Stars played well. It's just past 72 hours haven't been fun, or whatever it is. So Stars
Yeah.
losing and LSU losing, but yeah, dark days of summer coming up. A lot of boredom.
I actually think, just real quick on the NHL point, I think the Oilers finally break the Canadian curse. Mike, I think they finally win the first Stanley Cup since 1994. For a Canadian team, I think, was it Montreal that won the last one, 1994, something like that. But I do think the Oilers win the NHL Stanley Cup, and then the NBA have been going back and forth with this, man. But Boston's roster is just too loaded. They have a complete team. You got Porzingis. What do you do defensively on that? You got Drew Holiday. You got Derek White, who would be a 1-2 option on 90% of teams. He's your fifth option. You got Jaylen Brown. You got Jason Tatum. I just think they're too good.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think you're going to shut down Luka. I think if you can limit him to 30 or less or 35 and less, I think that's a success. I think it's more about shutting down Kyrie. I've seen some crazy sports takes saying Kyrie's the best sidekick in NBA history. I think that's ludicrous.
Kyrie's one of the most talented ball handlers in NBA history.
Yeah, I know for sure, but just these crazy sports show takes, is Kyrie the best sidekick of all time? It's everyone relax. He averaged 16 points in the first round. So yeah, no, you gotta limit Kyrie. Boston has Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown. They got some wings to throw at these guys.
They got Tatum, and then you got Porzingis, and then you got Al Horford.
I always forget about Horford. I guess he just kind of lurks around.
A consistent player, and he's been playing forever, dude. 2006, 7. He was on the Florida back-to-back team, right?
No, he the finals too. One thing I haven't really heard much people talk about that I've thought about is really benefits the Celtics too, because Tingus Pingus is coming back from an injury, and then you got Horford. He's old, so those extra 2 days rest, I think that'll help. So I really do believe it. Dallas is the younger team. One of the things that got Dallas there was PJ Washington just playing at it like a madman. I mean, he's been incredible. So is that sustainable? I'm not sure. We'll see, but yeah, I mean, I think Boston win in 6. That's my prediction. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Boston. I think 6 actually as well. I just think, but the thing is too, Luka could just come out and go fucking nuclear, right? And he is so good late in games. That's my one question about Boston. What do you do late in games? You got so many options. It should be Jason Tatum, but does Jason Tatum live up to the moment? Sometimes he folds, Mike. But I'm gonna say Boston in 6.
Who do you have? Who do you have guarding Kyrie, and who do you have Luka if you're the coach?
Kyrie, Drew Holiday, because he has his most feet, his feet. Drew Holiday has incredible defensive feet. You know that. And then Luka, I have Jaylen Brown, just a bigger body, and then Jaylen's athletic to keep up with Luka.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, yeah, and then Derek White. I mean, I would kind of rotate between White and Holiday. Those guys, if they switch, those guys are 2 first-team caliber guys. So, yeah, you can. In the NBA, it's really, really hard just to shut someone down like 10 points or less or something crazy like that. These guys are going to get theirs, but you really want to limit. You want to limit it. Luka's going to be really interesting. I would like to see Tatum kind of take on that. I think there might be one game where you might see a stat line where Jaylen Brown scores like 12 points, and you just might see all of his effort go defensively on Luka. Like you never know. So
I will say this: Jaylen Brown's been more consistent than Tatum the last two or three postseason.
yeah, Jaylen Brown's been incredible this season. You know, he got paid like I think it might have been the biggest contract in NBA history, and everyone was like, "Oh, you know, overpay," and they shouldn't. Like, there were discussions like, "Should we trade him or should we just give him all his money?" And
They made
Boston gave him all that money, and
like,
he's been incredible. He's having a career year.
I've always been the guy. I know it's going to sound weird because I want to trade Brandon Ingram, but I'm always the guy. When you win, you keep that group together because they're going to learn how to win, right? Because you saw it with the Nuggets. You might see it with the Mavericks, and I believe the Timberwolves need to keep their group together next year.
I think Timberwolves are going to split it up a little bit.
You think Cat's gone?
Yeah, well, you know, Ant's not going, so then it leaves the question of Gobert and Cat, and I know Gobert just went for like 100 first-round picks, so like for him to even get anywhere near what they gave up back, I don't see it. Nor do I think his value's down after the NBA playoffs once again. You know, I don't. He's not an NBA playoffs guy, so
he's not.
His value's down, so it doesn't even make sense. So yeah, it would be Cat. I mean, Cat would also fetch you the most. Cat, he had an okay playoffs. It was up and down.
Would you trade BI for Cat straight up?
Straight up, like no other picks involved?
Yeah. I would do that any day.
I don't know if I'm a Cat guy or not. Like some nights I'm watching him, I'm like, yeah, I could see it, and then other nights he just
Big Purr, baby.
He what?
He's Big Purr.
He's such a dumbass a lot of times that it drives me crazy. He'll commit like 2 or 3 fouls a game. You're just like,
oh, I know,
bro, what are you doing? No, I mean, I think if that trade was made, you got to stretch 5. You got to stretch 5. I think he'd be in a better situation in New Orleans than he would the Timberwolves. So I do think he would actually play, better. Would I be upset with it? No, but
you would be upset with Trae Young though.
Oh yeah, Trae Young. I could talk myself into Trae Young. I could lie to myself pretty hard on that. Just saying like all the assist numbers and all the creation and all that stuff. But the thing with me and Trae Young is like you better get rid of McCollum if you're going to take on Trae Young, because that is just a nightmare unless you're going to move McCollum to the bench. But then even then, like playing McCollum and Trae Young is just it's gonna be tough on the eyes. So no, if they traded BI for Cat, I could get into it, but I think there's something better out there. I keep seeing the 76ers are like I've seen multiple reports saying LeBron, which not going to happen. LeBron's going to re-sign with the JJ Redick led Lakers, and then it's like Paul George, Jimmy Butler. I don't see Jimmy Butler going anywhere, much less the 76ers. And then Brandon Ingram. Have you looked at the 76ers roster at all, like ever? They don't. They have like 3. They have like 3 guys on their team.
Yeah. Tobias Harris is too old and inefficient.
Tobias Harris is a free agent. Like it would have to be like a Tobias Harris 1 year, like try and sign and trade, and like a Paul Reed or something, and then like just a bunch of first round picks. Which I don't know, unless there's some kind of 3-team trade that they're just lurking that there's always something like that. But I don't know what the 76ers are doing. I mean, I can't believe teams haven't realized like this 3-player model really hasn't worked since.
No, it hasn't.
It hasn't worked. Like the league is so much more deep than it's ever been. Like
that's why it needs to expand. Like
I mean, look at the Suns. Like the Suns are going off this model, and they're freaking idiots. They're like, oh, we're keeping this we're keeping this together, and all this other stuff, and it's going to be the same result next year. And the league's going to be better next year. The West's going to be better next year. Like these teams are going to be evolving, and then they're going to be in like the second or third aprons. So, just blows my mind. Unless they're just saying this to try and create some value, but
I agree.
I don't know. It's just crazy. I just think this 3-player model is insane. I think like you need like two stars or 2 superstars, and then you need a bunch of like fringe guys like Michael Porter Jr.'s or Trey Murphy's or these guys who could be stars or just kind of sitting on the edge, like the Derek Whites of the world, like those kind of players. So, no, but yeah, I think Cat would be really interesting with Pels. But then again, like you're locking yourself into Zion, Cat. I mean, McCollum's going to be gone in a year or two. So just kind of build around those guys. I would like to see a guard come out of it more or less. So maybe it could be as easy as like Murray and Okongwu and for I don't know. Those are like the typical trades you see, but I don't know. It'll probably be done right around draft time if I had to think, which is like in 20 something days, I think.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Is that your preferred trade?
What, Cat or Murray?
Cat or Murray? Let's just say you could do like straight up. Who would you rather have?
Straight up Cat.
I just wonder if the Timberwolves would do that.
Yeah. Last question for you. A lot of hoopla about Caitlin Clark lately. What's your thoughts? I have one thought, right? I'm just gonna say it right now. It's crazy we're talking about the WNBA. The only reason why we're talking about the WNBA is because of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever need to get an enforcer. And anytime Caitlin Clark goes on the ground, that other person goes on the ground.
Yeah, no, it's it could be boiled down to as simple as if Caitlin Clark wasn't in the WNBA, would we be talking about this right now?
No,
Yeah.
dude, like nobody would give two craps.
And then everyone's like, oh, they want to throw race into it. It's like, no, like this is just like ludicrous. And then Angel Reese comes out, they'd be watching if I was playing and like, oh, we did this at LSU. It's like, well, you beat Caitlin Clark. That's why you are the storyline. Like, and you end up being a champion. So, it's just crazy. I don't get why these girls are beating up her.
Dude, Mike, I'm about facts, right? So every game Caitlin Clark has basically been in, it's been in the millions. It's like their top 5 games is involved Caitlin Clark. They're the second worst team. The other game was a game right before Caitlin Clark's game. So, like,
yeah,
like the draft had like 2 million viewers because of Caitlin Clark. You go look at all the high viewer games in women's basketball that they were talking about. It involved Caitlin Clark. Every single one.
No, I mean, you watch it, like, even if you watch the game nothing about the WNBA, nothing about it. You watch it for 3 minutes and you immediately know who the best player is on the court. Like, she's doing stuff that like I've really never seen like women players do. And she's warranting the attention, but the haters she gets from like the league, it's unbelievable.
Jealousy, bro.
It's unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I mean, she's getting, flights chartered for you. Like she's bringing notoriety to the league. Like she's going to raise y'all salaries. The WNBA's lost $200+ million a year. They haven't been profitable ever. They're subsidized by the NBA. So, it's just craziness. I don't even know why this is a topic in sports. I really don't. Women beating her up, that's just idiotic. You should be, raising her up. And it's insane.
Yeah, I agree, Mike.
I don't get it at all.
I agree. Who you got between the Oilers and the speaking of which, Reese just got ejected. I just saw
Reese? Oh yeah.
Just got ejected just now.
Woo.
Who you got between the Oilers and the Panthers?
I'm gonna go with McJesus. I'm gonna go with the Oilers. That dude's so good.
Yeah,
that one goal he had against the Stars, I was like, wow. Like,
yeah.
He skates different. Dreisaitl's really, really good. I was there Game 5 in Dallas, and it was really, really fun to watch. They got their ass kicked, but it was a good time anyway. Yeah, just go with the Oilers. Just go with the better player. I guess Panthers have a more depth, but
yeah,
I'm not really in touch with the Panthers. I don't even know where they're located. I don't think they even know where they're located. So.
Miami, bro.
Yeah, aren't they on the outside of Miami?
Yeah, so what? So is every Texas team. Like the Rangers and the Cowboys are outside of Dallas.
Where in Miami?
They're like South Miami.
Why aren't they called the Miami Panthers?
I don't know, because there's a Florida Panthers are an actual thing. That's like they're Cougars. They're called Florida Panthers because that's a distinct, like a subspecies of cougars.
If you surveyed every American, how many what percentage of Americans would know where exactly the Florida Panthers are?
Well, if they knew the Tampa Bay Lightning exists, they would just go, "Oh, they're not in Tampa. They must be in Miami." Yeah.
You think Americans think like that?
Well,
No.
I try to
They'd be
think
like,
logically.
Tallahassee. They'd have like no idea.
But if somebody said
I don't
Tallahassee,
even know, and I'm a sports fan.
if somebody said Tallahassee, we're just gonna push them in with the Gators.
Pensacola. Yeah, I don't know. People have no idea. I don't. My dad asked me that. I'm like, I don't know. Like, he had to look it up. Like, I'm sure that's a very Google thing. I'm sure that's gonna be the most Google thing during the playoffs. Where the hell is this team located?
Oh, so hey, where's the Colorado Rockies?
Denver. I don't know.
Yeah, but come on, man. Minnesota. Where's the Minnesota Timberwolves? Minneapolis. Come on, dude. Where's the Texas Rangers located? Really?
Utah.
Come on.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, but yeah. All right. Well, I'm going with the Oilers. So, who do you got?
I got the Oilers. I told you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout out UL Baseball knocking off Texas. That was nice. That was a big game.
Yep.
It's always nice. Always nice beating UT. Don't ask me about the game after.
It's also nice to have LSU, Tulane, UL, Nichols, Grambling, and Louisiana Tech. Although I really don't care about Louisiana Tech.
Bro, what is like up with the hate between like Louisiana teams? Like,
I don't get it. I don't understand it actually. Now living outside the state, I pull for all of them. I'm obviously like
you're a Cajun hater, Corey. Don't deny it.
But Mike, I pull for y'all every single game.
But like the hatred between LSU, like I feel like UL people, like a lot of them like grew up LSU fans, love LSU. Like I'm one of them. Like I've always grown up an LSU fan. Like I went to UL. But like I'm always going to keep up with LSU. But like the LSU fans like hate UL, and it's kind of embarrassing, honestly.
It's because of the name. They don't feel like you. I don't. It is what it is, man. But
you know what I think it is? I think Lafayette's just such a better city than Baton Rouge. That
yeah,
like
I will say that right now. Lafayette is 10 times better than Baton Rouge.
Yeah, Lafayette's because Baton Rouge is like LSU or whatever you want to say, like, or LSU is whatever. Like if Baton Rouge didn't have LSU, like man.
Baton Rouge is splitting apart right now, man.
You take UL out of Lafayette. Lafayette's still a cool ass city, and I think that's kind of like where it stems from. But like, I've never really known.
It's honestly the name Louisiana. They don't think you guys deserve that. But I will say this:
the fuck's it matter?
The Raging Cajuns, have been a really good athletic program the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, like football,
basketball, baseball, softball, all those sports, they've been really good. Tulane's been good the last 4 years with football and baseball, and then basketball has been somewhat competitive.
And then all the old heads on LSU hate Tulane because I guess that used to be a big rivalry when Tulane was in the SEC.
Tulane used to beat the shit out of LSU back in the 60s and 50s and 40s.
Well, that was back when they were in the SEC, right?
Yeah.
Tulane was. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, you keep seeing stuff about Tulane. Actually, the ACC, they're waiting to see what happens with Florida State and Clemson and North Carolina, because if one of those teams leaves, apparently Tulane's the next team to get into the ACC, which I think that is the most natural fit because you got Georgia Tech, a actual rival of Tulane's when they were in the ACC, and then SMU has been their rival for 15 years now, and they got a lot of smart schools there with Duke. Duke played football quite a bit. Virginia, Miami. I just think that's And then like Stanford and Cal are just sitting out there. I guess if some of those teams leave, you just fucking add Oregon State and Washington State just to kind of make it go on the
College sports are on a thread. I mean, they really are. I mean, after all, I barely paid attention to this lawsuit stuff because, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's so complicated and it doesn't really seem like there's some kind of final thing on it. But like, eventually, college sports can get to a point where it's like there's not even gonna be conferences anymore. It's just going to be kind of a, you know,
Yeah, I agree.
it's going to be weird. But and then probably end up back in conferences again. It's probably gonna be like a free for all, and then it just kind of reverts back. So that just kind of seems how everything works. Is just kind of in cycles. So, but yeah, no, it's just craziness. But yeah, anything else you want to touch on?
That's it, Mike. Good pod. Appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think if there's like any other. Are there any sports stuff coming up? We're about to be in the dog days of summer, man. There's not going to be much.
Well, you got the Olympics at the ends of summer. You got some golf. You got finals. Talk about Paul Skenes next week because I'm going to watch Paul Skenes cover him against the Rockies. He's projected to pitch on that Sunday.
How are tickets looking for that?
I have no clue. I'm just going as a media member.
Yeah, I wonder if he's like packing out places.
He's been incredible. He pitches tomorrow, I believe, against the Dodgers.
Yeah, is Pittsburgh good this year? I haven't kept up with MLB at all. I know it's impossible.
They're below 500.
Yeah. No, I mean, Skenes throwing the ball 102 miles an hour with movement. It's literally insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm jealous. That's pretty cool. Didn't one of their players get suspended for betting?
The Pirates? No, Padres.
Oh, it's Padres?
Yeah. Padres.
Okay. Yeah, that's embarrassing. I heard he made like $10 out of all the bets he plays.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
bro, like,
come on.
that's so bad. Like, I'm waiting for these guys to realize, like, come on, golden opportunity, man. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm jealous. You said this week, upcoming weekend?
No, following Sunday.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, hopefully he pitches.
Yep.
So, but yeah, no, dog days of summer upon us, where it's officially BI trade season and then NBA, draft, and yeah, we'll have some content for you guys. So appreciate y'all tuning in. If you can like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. And final words, Corey?
Always remember, if you're juiceless, you're useless. So always bring the juice.
No wiser words have been ever spoken. All right, we'll see you guys next time.